A lot of students that you may come in contact with every day may have someone at home telling them that they don't have a lot of worth, that they might not have a lot of ability. And the fact that you have the ability to influence their amount of feeling of their own self-worth is extremely important in their life, and really can control how they go through their whole life, both at school and how they view their home life. That self-esteem is directly related, whether you want to talk academics, you want to talk sports, you want to talk, the business world, getting out there in the workforce, is directly related to performance. And people who perform well have high self-esteem. It's not a boasting, it's not in a negative way. But if you have confidence in your abilities, and not only in the abilities that you have, but in just the ability to learn and improve and to impact other people, that self-esteem is high and the performance will also be high. It's not just the dirt journey, it's the destination. And this might be a little different than the way you've heard this at times. And the reason that I present it in this way is that sometimes we are a little intimidated to take something new on. You may be intimidated to walk into somebody else's classroom and try to make it your own a little bit. But it's okay to start intimidated, but what's important is to not stay there, is to make it your own experience. You don't really want to walk into student teaching and just be that teacher necessarily. You need to make it your own experience, because in a short time you're probably going to be walking into your own classroom and there isn't going to be someone else there to model, and it's going to be you creating it from the start. And hopefully you've had some good experiences and you have some good ideas from other teachers, both in your education here and in your experiences with practicum and student teaching. But you don't want to stay intimidated. And I've seen teachers, first-year teachers, come in and stay intimidated throughout the school year a little bit. And I think the best you can do to be prepared and to have a plan for that is a way to move from there. And the point of the title here is that you have to have a vision of where you want to be, what you want your classroom to look like, what do you want your life to look like. And that might be something, how you want it to look the end of January versus how you want it to look like in March or May. And this isn't just student teaching related. How do you want your life to look in May as you graduate? How do you want, where do you expect to be come September? And if you don't have a clear vision of that, you're probably not going to end up in a place where you may want to end up. So having a vision of the end result. When we make affirmations in volleyball or with my students, we talk about you really need to envision where you want to be. What's your ideal situation? Where's your very best place you could be? And again, your timeline can be different. It could be in a week, it could be in a month, it could be in 5 years. But whatever your goal is, or wherever you want to start working on first, you have to envision it. What's it going to look like at that perfect time? Once you've reached the goal, what's it look like? And that's what you need to do. You have to have that vision in sight to be able to set your goals. What do you want your end result to be? How does it look? How does it feel? What's going on around you? How does it involve the other people around you? So if you can start with the end in mind, and that's very similar to teaching philosophy. You need to know, what do you expect the kids, what do you want the end result to be? And that's the point of backwards design. We want to know, what's the ultimate goal? If every kid in the class learned this and everything worked great, what would it look like? So if you have this vision of what you want, that is what you have to use for change. Change is not going to happen until you know what you want at the end. So what is the ideal workplace? You have to picture it, feel it, read it. Then once you have that vision, then you can set the goal. You can figure out how you want to get there. When you do set your goals, that causes a mode in your mind for change. So the brain realizes, wait a minute, I don't want to, for some reason, I don't want to stay where I'm at. There's a different vision here. And that's when things will actually start to change. And it's a problem for your mind. Your brain has to figure out, how am I going to reach this if this is the ultimate vision? Because this is what I'm being told now. It's a good problem because your subconscious will try to solve it. Subconsciously, if you are repetitively talking about this goal, when I was an athlete, that goal was everywhere. You know, my coach, we talked about it has to encompass your life. It was everywhere in my room. And when I was a high jumper, I put what my ultimate goal was. I mean, I bet I had it 40 or 50 different places just in my bedroom. When I picked up my phone, there it was. When I opened the closet, there it was. When I walked out the door, there it was. When I got in my car, there it was. So this, when I talked to someone about it recently, they said, well, that's just brainwashing. And I said, I don't care what it is, it works. So when it's just the repetition, you have to remind yourself of the goal, because we all lose sight of goals sometimes. And they can change. Your goals also need to be reset. Through the training that we did, the presenter told a story, and we all went, wow, we have all been there. If your goal is to get through Friday, I have just got to go. It's Friday. I cannot wait until the end of the day. And have you ever had a goal of Friday evening, I can't wait to go out on Friday, and you get to Friday, and maybe you have a number of things that you need to do for the weekend, but Friday comes and you never leave the couch, or you never leave the apartment, or you don't get to those things that you knew that you needed to do over the weekend. And Friday comes and you're done. And then all of a sudden it seems Monday morning and you say, oh my gosh, what did I do all weekend? I don't even know what I did all weekend. And some of you are saying, yeah, you've probably had that happen. Because their goal was to get to Friday. And they didn't reset the goal. So knowing that you need to reset the goal is very important. So when you get there, your brain will say, oh, I reached the goal, I'm done. And being able to reset the goal is the only way that you're going to have that change, and that it will maintain, it will be consistent. It will happen over a long period of time. People talk about this in weight loss and those types of programs, or habit programs if you're trying to break a habit, that it has to continually be set. Maybe I reached the goal of, boy, I didn't have a cookie for an hour. But if you don't reset that goal, your brain says, I didn't have a cookie for an hour. I reached that goal. I can have a cookie now. So if you're not resetting it, this really hit me hard when in volleyball we had a goal to get to, we're going to outscore the team every 5 points. I said we're going to beat them to 5. And I thought, this is great. The kids were really excited about it. It was short term, 5 points. They could handle that. And we went out and we were at 5-0. And we came in the huddle. Great job. The other team called timeout. Way to go. And we sent them back out on the floor. Didn't talk about what was next. We had beat them to 5, and all of a sudden we were down 10-5. So I called the timeout. We come back in, and I said, guys, ladies, what happened? I don't know what's going on. And we struggled through that game, and we didn't win that game. And it was later on that I had went through the training, and I went, we never reset the goal. We stopped at 5. Our goal was to get to 5 and to beat the other team to 5, but we never reset the goal. So I don't do that anymore. We always reset after so many, whatever our goal is, we make sure that we reset that. So it's only when you continually reset that you'll cause the change, and the change will be permanent, and then you'll have that growth. Later on, or coming up soon, you'll be preparing your brain for the interview that you may be looking forward to. You need to have an understanding of what you believe that interview should look like. And I know you've probably gone through some practice interviews, and you've done that in your academic classes. You have to be able to believe that it will happen. If this is a place that, boy, in your vision, you really know that this is a place that you want to be, you do need to envision it. You need to envision your place in that job environment. Believing it and being able to visualize it and really see it as your reality, whether it's starting now in student teaching or looking at the interview and you being a part of that school district. Children may forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you've made them feel.